The Wizard of Oz, 1939, remains a cornerstone of cinematic history, enchanting viewers with its timeless magic and unforgettable characters. But after 85 years, have you ever wondered what happened to the cast who brought this legendary film to life? As we step into 2025, we delve into the post-Oz journeys of these iconic actors. From career triumphs and challenges to their personal lives and legacies, join us in exploring where the stars of The Wizard of Oz are now and how their stories have evolved over the decades. Jack Haley portrayed Hickory, who transformed into the Tin Man, in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 42. The Tin Man, a character who believed he lacked a heart, was both endearing and tragic, always showing deep compassion for his friends despite his self-doubt. Haley's career, however, was not as warm as the character he played. After stepping in for Buddy Epson, who had a severe allergic reaction to the silver makeup, Haley faced his own health issues from the same toxic materials, including recurring eye infections. His career after The Wizard of Oz was marked by missed opportunities and frustrations. While he enjoyed steady work, he could never escape the shadow of the Tin Man. His marriage to Florence McFadden, though lasting, was often strained, and their two children, Jack Jr. and Gloria, faced challenges as their father struggled with career and health problems. Haley passed away from a heart attack on June 6, 1979 at the age of 81, having spent the last years of his life in relative obscurity. Frank Morgan portrayed both Professor Marvel and the Wizard in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 49, bringing charm and depth to a character who was both deceptive and ultimately redemptive. Morgan was a seasoned actor, known for his versatility and warmth on screen, but his personal life was marked by insecurities and struggles with alcoholism. He often found himself battling the demons of his past, and despite his successful career, he faced financial troubles. Morgan was married to Alma Muller for over 30 years, and their relationship, though enduring, was strained by his personal issues and his constant need for solace in alcohol. In the final years of his life, Morgan's health began to fail, exacerbated by his drinking habits. He passed away from a heart attack on September 18, 1949, at the age of 59. Bert Lahr played Zeke, who became the Cowardly Lion, in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 44. The Cowardly Lion, a character full of comedic blunders and sincere vulnerability, longed for courage but frequently displayed unexpected bravery, endearing himself to audiences. Lahr, an accomplished vaudeville performer, had a successful stage career but was often typecast and struggled to find satisfying roles in film. His personal life was marked by tragedy and dysfunction. His first marriage to Mercedes Del Pino ended in divorce, and his second marriage to Mildred Schroeder was fraught with emotional strain due to her mental health issues. The couple had two children, John and Jane, but Lahr's long absences and mental burdens took their toll on family life. His health deteriorated in his later years, and he passed away from pneumonia on December 4, 1967 at the age of 72. Margaret Hamilton played Miss Gulch, who transforms into the Wicked Witch of the West, in The Wizard of Oz starting in 1939 at the age of 37. Known for her portrayal of one of the most iconic villains in cinema history, Hamilton's character was vengeful, wicked, and unforgettable. Despite her success, Hamilton was often typecast in similar villainous roles, struggling to break free from the shadow of the Wicked Witch. Her personal life was marked by sadness and heartache. She was married briefly to Paul Boynton Meserve, but they divorced after only 2 years, and she raised her son, Hamilton Wadsworth Meserve, alone. Hamilton also suffered severe burns during the filming of The Wizard of Oz when her costume caught fire during a scene. This left her with physical scars and compounded her emotional distress. Margaret spent her later years quietly, still remembered for her role as the Wicked Witch, and passed away on May 16, 1985, at 82 from a heart attack. Billy Burke portrayed Glinda, the Good Witch, in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 55. Glinda, graceful and kind-hearted, guided Dorothy with wisdom and compassion, yet Burke's own life was much more tumultuous. Widowed in 1932 when her husband, the famous Broadway impresario Florenz Ziegfeld, passed away, she was left financially insecure. Burke's career in film flourished after his death, but it was often as a comedic, upper-class character she found unfulfilling. Despite her fame, she struggled with loneliness and personal despair. She married only once and had a daughter, Patricia, but their relationship became strained over the years. In her later years, Burke lived largely in isolation, reflecting on a career and life that, while filled with public adoration, left her privately broken. She passed away on May 14, 1970 at the age of 85, after years of fighting depression and solitude. Ray Bolger played Hunk, who transformed into the Scarecrow, in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 35, captivating audiences with his physicality, charm, and vulnerability. The Scarecrow's desire for a brain despite his intelligence mirrored Bolger's own struggles with typecasting, as he was often recognized for this one iconic role. A talented dancer and actor, Bolger had a successful career, but his personal life was not without its challenges. He married Gwendolyn Ricard in 1929, and their union, though long-lasting, was marked by the demands of his career, which left little room for personal fulfillment. The couple remained childless, and despite their love for one another, Bolger's life was shaped by the pressures of his profession. In his later years, Bolger's health began to decline, and he faced the isolation that often accompanies fame. He passed away from bladder cancer on January 15, 1987, at the age of 83. Judy Garland played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 17, delivering a performance that became iconic for her portrayal of a brave and kind-hearted girl seeking her way home. Dorothy's youthful optimism mirrored Judy's own inner strength, but her life was filled with sorrow and struggle. Despite rising to fame at a young age, Judy faced relentless pressure from MGM, where she was subjected to exhausting work schedules, strict dieting, and the use of pills to control her weight and energy. Her personal life was similarly tumultuous. She married 5 times, with her union to director Vincente Minnelli being the most publicized, and had 3 children, including actress Liza Minnelli. However, her marriages were fraught with betrayal, emotional turmoil, and addiction. Struggling with financial troubles and poor health in her later years, Judy's life came to a tragic end when she overdosed on barbiturates on June 22, 1969, at the age of 47. Charlie Grapewind portrayed Uncle Henry in The Wizard of Oz starting in 1939 at the age of 70, bringing a steady, dependable presence to the screen. His Uncle Henry was a calm and loving figure who provided comfort to Dorothy amid the troubles of Kansas. Grapewind's career spanned over 100 films, with roles in The Grapes of Wrath and Tobacco Road, but much of his work came later in life, when Hollywood's focus had shifted to younger stars. His personal life was marked by profound loss when his beloved wife, Anna Chance, passed away in 1943 after over 40 years of marriage. Grapewind never remarried, and without children, he spent his final years in increasing loneliness. His health began to decline in his later years, and he passed away on February 2, 1956, at the age of 86 due to natural causes. Clara Blanck portrayed Auntie Em in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 63. As Auntie Em, she was the embodiment of maternal warmth and love, a steady presence that offered Dorothy comfort and stability amid the chaos of farm life. Blanck had a long career in Hollywood, with roles spanning more than 100 films, but she never achieved major fame or success. Her personal life was filled with deep sorrow. She never married and had no children, which left her feeling isolated. In her later years, as her health began to decline and her vision deteriorated, Blanck became increasingly withdrawn, struggling with loneliness and chronic pain. Tragically, on April 15, 1962, at the age of 85, she took her own life, overwhelmed by the pain of her physical and emotional struggles. Her death marked a sorrowful end to a life that, while marked by dedication to her craft, was overshadowed by personal heartbreak. Billy Bletcher voiced the mayor of Munchkinland and a member of the Lollipop Guild in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 45. The mayor was a key figure in the vibrant world of Munchkinland, responsible for welcoming Dorothy to Oz with cheerful authority. Bletcher had a long career in vaudeville and film, appearing in hundreds of movies from the silent era to the early talkies. However, by the time The Wizard of Oz was made, his career had already begun to slow down, and he was relegated to mostly minor roles. His personal life was fraught with difficulties. He married Arlene Roberts in 1915, but their marriage was unstable, with financial troubles and his declining career straining the relationship. They had one daughter, Margie, who faced serious health problems, adding further stress to an already troubled home life. Despite his extensive career, Bletcher's later years were marked by poverty and isolation, and his once prominent presence in Hollywood had faded. He passed away on January 5, 1979, at the age of 84. Candido voiced the angry apple tree in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 26, delivering a memorable performance with his distinctive, gruff voice. His character, though brief, added a comedic touch to the film's magical world. However, Candy's real life was far less lighthearted. He spent much of his career struggling with typecasting and financial instability, often taking roles that kept him confined to the same vocal patterns. His relationships were fraught with difficulties, and though he sought love and companionship, he never found lasting happiness in his personal life. Candy's health declined in his later years, and he faced increasing isolation. Though his voice had once brought joy to many, his final years were marked by a sense of solitude and unfulfilled potential. He passed away on May 19, 1999, at the age of 85 due to natural causes, quietly slipping away after a life full of unseen struggles and disappointment. Harry Earls played a member of the Lollipop Guild in The Wizard of Oz starting in 1939 at the age of 37. His role as the tiny, cheerful munchkin who welcomed Dorothy to Oz was one of the film's more endearing moments. However, Harry's career, much like that of his fellow actors of small stature, was largely confined to stereotypical roles that exploited his size rather than recognizing his broader talents. His personal life was marred by heartbreak, particularly the untimely death of his wife, which left him devastated and emotionally withdrawn. Harry never remarried, and in his later years, he was burdened by financial troubles and declining health. Despite his fond memories of The Wizard of Oz, his life was spent in loneliness and regret, as the joy he brought to audiences could not heal his personal wounds. Harry passed away on May 4, 1985, at the age of 83. Lois January played the Emerald City manicurist in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 27. While her role was minor, she contributed to the whimsical and lively atmosphere of the Emerald City, a key element in Dorothy's journey. January's acting career, however, never took off, and after The Wizard of Oz, she struggled to find substantial work in Hollywood. Her personal life mirrored her career struggles. She was married twice, but both marriages ended in divorce, and she had no children. In her later years, she suffered from Alzheimer's disease, which led to a gradual loss of her memories. Lois passed away on August 7, 2006, at the age of 93. Despite her early involvement in one of cinema's most iconic films, her final years were spent in relative obscurity and isolation, a stark contrast to the vibrant character she portrayed. Marin played a member of the Lollipop Guild in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 19. His character, known for the unforgettable lollipop dance, became one of the most beloved figures in the film. While his role in The Wizard of Oz made him a part of cinematic history, Marin's life off-screen was far more troubled. He married twice, but both marriages ended in divorce, and he never had children, leaving him feeling isolated in his later years. Despite being invited to conventions and maintaining a degree of fame, Marin often spoke of his loneliness and the struggles of living in the shadow of his childhood role. As the last surviving munchkin, he found some comfort in this recognition, but the void in his personal life remained. Marin passed away on May 24, 2018, at the age of 98 due to natural causes, his life a bittersweet blend of fame and solitude, marked by the passage of time and personal loss. Mitchell Lewis portrayed the captain of the Winky Guard in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at age 59. As the imposing and loyal figure serving the Wicked Witch of the West, Lewis's performance brought gravity to the film's darker elements. Despite a long career in Hollywood, with notable appearances in films like King Kong and The Sea Hawk, Lewis's personal life was fraught with difficulties. His marriage to actress Helen Ferguson was strained by his struggles with alcoholism and his inability to maintain steady work. They had one daughter, but their family life was far from happy, with financial instability further adding to their troubles. In his later years, Lewis faded into obscurity, facing financial hardship and poor health, unable to recapture the success of his earlier career. He passed away on August 24, 1956, at the age of 76, largely forgotten by the industry that once celebrated him, his final years marked by loneliness and unfulfilled potential. Buster Brody played one of the winged monkeys in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 54. The winged monkeys were both intimidating and loyal, aiding the Wicked Witch in her schemes against Dorothy. Brody's acting career was largely composed of minor, uncredited roles, and despite his long service in vaudeville and film, he never achieved lasting fame. His personal life mirrored his professional struggles, with a deep sense of isolation marking much of his life. Brody never married, and friends described him as someone who longed for connection but was often too withdrawn to build meaningful relationships. He struggled financially throughout his career, unable to break out of a cycle of small parts in low-budget films. His later years were dominated by depression and health problems, and he died unexpectedly of a heart attack on April 9, 1948, at 62. Pat Walsh played Nico, the leader of the Winged Monkeys, in The Wizard of Oz starting in 1939 at 39 years old. His character, although not central to the plot, was memorable for his commanding presence and his role in carrying out the Wicked Witch's bidding. Walsh's career was limited by his small stature, standing at only 3 feet 10 inches, which often led to typecasting in circus and sideshow roles. Despite his acting career, he struggled with feelings of isolation and loneliness. Walsh never married, likely due to the social stigma surrounding his dwarfism, and spent his later years largely in solitude. He battled severe arthritis in his final years, which made life even more difficult, and he was largely forgotten by the public. Pat passed away on December 11, 1991, at the age of 91, leaving behind little in terms of personal legacy. Hart Rob portrayed the Munchkin coroner in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at age 24. Known for his humorous line declaring the Wicked Witch most sincerely dead, Rob's performance became one of the film's most iconic moments. While his role in the movie cemented his place in film history, his career never took off as he hoped, and he struggled to find significant roles in Hollywood. Rob's personal life was marked by turbulence, including a failed first marriage and a second marriage that also ended in difficulties. His relationships were strained, and he had no children, leaving him with a sense of isolation as he grew older. In his later years, Rob's health declined, and he spent much of his time in relative obscurity, burdened by memories of a career that never reached its full potential. He passed away on April 9, 2010, at 94 from a heart attack, his final years marked by loneliness and unfulfilled dreams. Karl Kixi portrayed Munchkin Harold No. 1 and the Sleepyhead in The Wizard of Oz in 1939, beginning at the age of 21. His character played a small but significant role in the jubilant Munchkinland celebration, marking the arrival of Dorothy in the magical land of Oz. Kixi's career, however, remained largely in the shadows after the film. He faced financial difficulties and was unable to land prominent roles, often finding himself in obscurity. His personal life was filled with heartache, including multiple failed marriages, leaving him without children or the support of a family. As he grew older, Kixi struggled with health problems, particularly heart disease, which led to his passing on November 15, 2011, at the age of 93. His death marked the end of a life spent in relative loneliness, overshadowed by the fleeting fame he experienced in one of Hollywood's greatest films. Daisy Earls portrayed a Munchkin villager in The Wizard of Oz starting in 1939 at the age of 32. Her character, though a small part of the larger Munchkinland ensemble, contributed to the whimsical charm of the land, bringing life to one of the film's most memorable scenes. However, Daisy's career after The Wizard of Oz struggled to gain momentum, as roles for actors of her stature were limited, and she often found herself relegated to minor parts. Her personal life was equally troubled. Her first marriage ended in divorce, and she later remarried, only for that relationship to also dissolve. Raising her son, William, as a single mother, Daisy faced significant financial hardship. She lived much of her later years in obscurity, often reflecting on what could have been in both her career and personal life. Daisy passed away on March 15, 1980, at 72, a quiet death that mirrored a life spent struggling to achieve the dreams that the Wizard of Oz had briefly promised. Tiny Doll played a Munchkin villager in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 25. Her role, though small, helped add to the vibrant community of Munchkinland, contributing to the whimsical charm of the film's opening scenes. However, Doll's life off-screen was far less joyful. After The Wizard of Oz, she struggled to find substantial roles, often relegated to minor parts that did not allow her to break free from the typecasting that defined her early career. Financial difficulties were a constant, and she faced emotional challenges as well, having been married twice, with both marriages ending in divorce. Despite a career that never fully blossomed, Doll found some solace in her personal life but remained largely isolated as her fame faded. She passed away on September 6, 2004 at the age of 90 from heart failure, her death marking the end of a quiet, largely forgotten existence. Buddy Epson provided the singing voice for the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz starting in 1939 at the age of 31. Epson's career took a tragic turn when he suffered a severe allergic reaction to the aluminum powder used for his makeup, leading to his replacement by Jack Haley in the role. Though Buddy recovered, the incident haunted him, leaving him with a deep sense of missed opportunity. Despite later success in television with the Beverly Hillbillies, Epson was never able to fully move beyond the incident, and his career was marked by what could have been. His personal life was turbulent, his 2 marriages ended in divorce, and he dealt with ongoing health problems, partly due to the poisoning he suffered during the making of The Wizard of Oz. Buddy lived much of his later years with a sense of regret, reflecting on a career that could have been greater. He passed away on July 6, 2003, at the age of 95 from respiratory failure. Dorothy Barrett played the Emerald City manicurist in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 22. Despite her brief and uncredited role in the iconic film, Barrett brought a touch of color and whimsy to the Emerald City, contributing to the vibrant backdrop of Dorothy's magical adventure. Unfortunately, Barrett's career never blossomed beyond small, often unremarkable parts, and she faded from public attention after The Wizard of Oz. Her personal life reflected her professional struggles. Barrett endured a short-lived marriage that ended in divorce, and she remained childless throughout her life. She faced a number of health issues in her later years, including arthritis, and lived much of her life in relative isolation. Despite her long life, which spanned 101 years, Barrett passed away quietly on March 8, 2018. Harry Bernard, at 61, played a Munchkin villager in The Wizard of Oz in 1939. Bernard was part of the beloved Munchkin Ensemble, a group that greeted Dorothy with joyous celebration in the magical land of Oz. Prior to this role, Bernard had worked in vaudeville and small film parts, but his career was never enough to establish him as a household name. His personal life was marked by loss, as his wife died young, leaving him to live the remainder of his life without the companionship of a spouse or children. Bernard struggled with heart disease in his later years, a condition that worsened over time. His health took a final toll, and he passed away on November 4, 1940, from a heart attack at the age of 62. His death, just a year after his memorable role in The Wizard of Oz, was a quiet and tragic end to a life spent largely in the shadows of Hollywood's grandeur. Tyler Brooke portrayed an Ozmite in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 53. The Ozmite, though a minor character, was part of the eccentric and fantastical world of Oz, contributing to the film's magical tone. Once a successful vaudeville performer, Brooke's career took a downturn during the Great Depression, and he found himself stuck in a series of smaller roles as the film industry changed. His personal life was filled with sorrow and instability. He married actress Kathleen Clare Ward, but their relationship fell apart in divorce, and his second marriage to Alice Gage ended similarly. Brooks' relationship with his only son, Lawrence, was distant, strained by his alcoholism and emotional struggles. Over time, his career and personal life became increasingly overshadowed by his battles with depression. At the age of 56, Brooke died of a heart attack on March 2, 1943. Betty and Cain played a Munchkin in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 8, becoming one of the beloved characters that greeted Dorothy upon her arrival to Oz. The Munchkins' vibrant personalities brought a sense of joy and whimsy to the film. However, Betty's life after the film's success was marked by disappointment. Though she enjoyed brief fame, she struggled to find substantial work in Hollywood, and her career soon faded. She married twice, but both marriages ended in divorce, and though she had children, her family life was often turbulent. Financial struggles and the emotional toll of her broken relationships weighed heavily on her. Despite the cheerful image she portrayed on screen, Betty lived most of her life in obscurity, facing the challenges of poverty and isolation. She passed away on July 30, 2023, at the age of 91, a poignant end to a life that was marked by both fleeting moments of childhood joy and a lifetime of unfulfilled dreams. Billy Curtis played the Munchkin father in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 30. His character, a warm and proud father figure, played a key role in welcoming Dorothy to Munchkinland with enthusiasm. Curtis, known for his short stature, found his career often limited by typecasting, despite his undeniable talent. Although his role in The Wizard of Oz brought him some recognition, he struggled to find significant work after the film, relegated to minor parts that did not showcase his full potential. Curtis' personal life was fraught with difficulties as well. He married twice, first to actress Yvonne Darmond, and then to Dorothy LeMay, but both marriages ended in divorce. His financial struggles were constant, and the pressures of his career and personal life took a toll on his health and happiness. He passed away in 1988 at the age of 79 from a heart attack. Ken Darby voiced the Munchkinland mayor in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 30. His portrayal of the cheerful and authoritative mayor added to the colorful atmosphere of Munchkinland as he led the Munchkins in celebrating Dorothy's arrival. Darby's career, however, was full of frustration and unfulfilled potential. Though he found success as a composer, lyricist, and arranger, he never achieved the fame or recognition that many of his contemporaries did. His work behind the scenes in Hollywood was often overshadowed by the more prominent figures around him. Darby's personal life was equally complicated. He was married to singer June Hutton, but their relationship was tumultuous and eventually ended in separation. Despite having children, Darby struggled with emotional isolation, and his personal and professional lives never fully aligned. He passed away on January 24, 1992 at the age of 82 from natural causes. Pinto Cvig voiced various Munchkins in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 47, using his unique voice to bring the enchanting world of Oz to life. Pinto was a talented and versatile voice actor, beloved for his work in cartoons and films, but his personal life was marked by deep sorrow. He married Gracie Thompson, but their relationship was marred by emotional strain and infidelity, leading to their eventual separation. Pinto struggled with depression and alcoholism, and despite his career success, he never overcame his personal demons. As his health deteriorated due to lung cancer, Pinto faced his final years largely in isolation. Despite his contributions to Hollywood, his life ended in sadness, far from the joy he had created on screen. He passed away on October 3, 1967, at the age of 75, his death a somber end to a career shadowed by personal turmoil. Ethel Rita Leopold played another Emerald City manicurist in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at the age of 25. Like Lois January, her role was minor, but she contributed to the magical atmosphere of the Emerald City, adding to the enchantment of Dorothy's adventures in Oz. After The Wizard of Oz, Leopold's career faltered, and she struggled to find substantial roles, fading into obscurity. Her personal life was marked by hardship. She married once, but the marriage ended in divorce, and she had no children. In her later years, she faced health issues, and her final years were spent in relative isolation. Ethel Rita passed away on January 26, 1998, at the age of 83 from pneumonia. Her life, though touched by the magic of Oz, ended quietly, with her contributions to cinema largely forgotten, overshadowed by the passage of time and personal struggles. Who is your favorite character from The Wizard of Oz? How do you feel knowing that some of the actors have passed away? Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this content, please remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss future videos. Thank you so much.